What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my 31 and 31. And today we are talking It. And I'm not talking about the remake movie, I'm talking about the TV miniseries from the 90s. Now, I'm going to cut this into two parts, but it's going to go straight through. So let's talk about the director. The director being Tommy Lee Wallace, like one of my favorite directors from the 80s. He did Fright Night 2, he did Halloween 3, he did Amityville 2. He worked a lot with John Carpenter, so I was okay with him directing this movie. Let's start rounding out with the kids. So for the kids, we got Emily Perkins, who I never realized until way later in life that Emily Perkins went on to be in Ginger Snaps as Bridget. She does great in here. She does a great performance in here. We also have Seth Green, a very young Seth Green. He's great as well as Richie. We got Jonathan Brandis, rest in peace. He was awesome. He was from Sequest and Never Ending Story Part 2. So great, a bunch of kids in here. I'm just talking about the ones that really I remember. For the adults, we got Annette O'Toole, who was in Smallville, who was also in Superman 3, and a whole bunch of early movies. She's been around for a while. We've had John Ritter as the adult Ben, which John Ritter, rest in peace, everybody knows from the movies like what's that movie called? Oh my God, I hate it. First thing in the morning when your mind goes blank. Problem Child. People know him from that. I know him from Three's Company. I know him from Bride of Chucky. I know him from bunch of movies. Last thing he was in before he passed was the Rules to Date My Teenage Daughter, which also had Katie Seagal in it, who is still so smoking hot. We also have Olivia Hussey. I didn't realize this again until I rewatched it this weekend. And I literally pointed to my girl and I was like, "Oh my God, do you know who that is?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Olivia Hussey." And she's like, "Who's Olivia Hussey?" Black Christmas? Romeo and Juliet? I know her from Black Christmas. Like, that movie, still, I don't care how old that movie is. Fucking great. So pretty much that rounds out the cast that I know of. So let's give a little backstory. Very beginning of the movie, young Bill sends his brother Georgie out to play with his boat and ends up meeting Pennywise the dancing clown. And he ends up talking him into coming and grabbing his boat in the sewer. And you don't see it, it's off screen, but Georgie gets his arm bitten off. And he's sitting there going with his arm going bleeding. You don't see it in the miniseries, you see it in the updated remake. But that's literally what happens in the book. That's what happens to him, but you don't see it on screen because it's a miniseries. After that, literally, Pennywise starts to target all the Losers Club. One by one, using their fears against them, but then end up showing himself as a clown. Literally, they round together, and they defeat him for the time being. They say at the end that if it comes back, then we come back too. Now, this was time during Stephen King's cocaine-written days, where he wrote a lot of crazy shit into his books. So they do the ritual in Chud in here, but they do it with the cutting of the hands and making that pact. If it comes back, we come back too. In the book, there was this running a train on Beverly, which is fucked up. And even Stephen King goes, I was fucked up when I wrote that. I wouldn't write that today. No, you wouldn't write it today because it wouldn't fly today. But they stop Pennywise for the time being, and they all go their separate ways. As a first part, I really love this movie. I think the first part is superior over the second. Just to see Seth Green as a young kid is fucking worth it in itself. To see John Brandis again, how great of an actor he was again before his death. Great acting. I really like the child's part. I think it's really good. I like the bonding of the kids over the bully of Henry Bowers. That was cool. One of my favorite scenes in the kids' version is Pennywise coming out of the drain while the freaking hot water's pushing the kid into the corner. That is fucking dope. So then we pick up in the second part where we start getting phone calls to the Losers Club, who are adults who don't remember much from Derry. Um, they go out, Mike calls them and goes, "Hey, it's Mike Hanlon." And then all of a sudden starts flushing back and they're like, "Mike." And then they realize, "Oh, fuck." And then he says, "It's back." And they all say, "We'll be there. We'll be there." Except for Stanley. Stanley is the only one that doesn't. Um, Stanley ends up telling his wife, "I'm going to go take a bath," and ends up killing himself in the bath and writing "it" on the wall in his blood and commits suicide. So he's the only one of the Losers Club that doesn't come back. All of them come back and they start getting targeted again. And pretty much Pennywise tells them, "You're too old to stop me. You'll die if you try. You'll die if you try." I love it. Love it. My favorite scene in the adult part of the movie is the library scene. "Is your refrigerator running? It is. You better catch it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh." I love that shit. That shit is fucking gold to me. The scene in the Chinese restaurant was dope as well. The only thing I didn't like about this adult version is the spider, which everybody knows about the infamous spider. It did not work at all. It looked horrible. Horrible. Um, One of the standouts in this movie is Tim Curry. This is when I call Tim Curry's triple threat years, where his three biggest roles were pretty much in a row. Over time. It was pretty much big hit after big hit. We got Rocky Horror Picture Show, big hit for Tim Curry. Legend, big hit for Tim Curry. And It, big hit for Tim Curry. Because when everybody asks who do you remember that Tim Curry was, you get Pennywise, the devil from It, and Rocky Horror. And maybe Clue. Um, but hands down, this movie is incredible. If you can watch it, yes, there is the remake. Yes, the remake is great. I love it in its own way. I don't think it's a remake of the miniseries. It's a remake or a readaptation of the actual book. Because there's things in that movie version that isn't in this because of the age or the time period, and you couldn't put killing a homosexual kid on the screen. They did it in the remake, which I was shocked they did. Literally shocked they did. Just same thing, I was shocked they actually showed what happened to Georgie in the movie version, which was fucking great too. So if you can get a chance, check this out. This is actually streaming right now on HBO Max. Definitely give it a chance. Definitely check it out. See what came forth before the version that came out. I want to say what's up. I want to give a shout out for the end of this. I want to give a shout out to Jason Barnes. He is the one that suggested It, the miniseries. Thank you for doing this because I haven't seen this in a very long time, and I got to have my enjoyment all over again of why I love this story. Next review coming out tomorrow is going to be Sleepaway Camp. That is suggested by my homie and best friend, Dan El Toro Loco Bullock. So check that out for tomorrow. I will be talking Felissa Rose's debut in Sleepaway Camp. So until that next time, stay creepy, my friends.